available for support.
Confirmed. Thanks for the drop-off, Captain.
Good luck, sir. Sentinel-5 out.
Is this your idea of easy, monsieur?
We're all secure, Percival. We move on your mark. Very well.
Hey, how's it going guys? Chris here, and in this video I'll be giving my full review on the Order 1886. It's a third-person shooter with a single-player storyline and no multiplayer. The Order 1886 is developed by Ready at Dawn Studios and Sony Santa Monica. It's a PlayStation 4 exclusive, so you'll only be able to play it on a PS4 console. With lots of skepticism surrounding the Order 1886, this review should help me deliver my unbiased opinions and help you decide whether or not the game is worth getting.
It's a police investigation now.
The Order 1886 takes place in an alternate history in the year 1886, within Victorian London. An evolutionary trait has taken over some humans, turning them into beastly half-breeds, werewolf-like creatures that feed on the rest of humanity. And some of the best scientists, soldiers and heroes have come together to form a group in which it's their duty to protect the rest of humanity from these half-breeds. This group is called the Order. The story of the Order brings together some well-known historical figures, twisting ideas from the past such as using Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table together with some other elements from the 19th century. You assume the role of Sir Galahad, a knight and a member of the Order who is accompanied by other members of the Order on his travels. Along the way you uncover conspiracies, meet new characters and witness plot twists. The actual story feels very drawn out at times, and though the Order takes place in an interesting world, the story can feel a little flat. It's not a bad plot, but it could have been more engaging. The Order suffers from pacing problems that make some sections feel like a drag, that don't really contribute to the storyline much. The characters are okay, but not all that brilliant. You probably won't really care for them, and the game doesn't really let you connect with them. Most of them have characteristic traits, but the story doesn't really involve the individual characters too much, or give you much reason to develop any emotion for them, even at some of the game's more dramatic times. The overall story is stronger than a lot of games out there, but a lot of it can seem a bit boring, and be warned, the ending will just hit you suddenly and unexpectedly. So the Order has a single player campaign that features sections of third-person action and slower paced inactivity. The levels are very linear, forcing you along a set path with no form of decision or choice. It kind of felt like being on a ride for the duration of the game, in the way that everything you do is already planned out for you, giving you no other option but to follow the game out as intended, to the end. Firefights can be quite fun, with some of the game's unique, old-fashioned styled weaponry, but they don't really offer you anything new that hasn't already been done before in other third-person shooters. The Order is also riddled with loads of QuickTime events, dampening the whole experience and making it feel fairly generic. Though some of the gun battles can be enjoyable, they can also seem few and far between. The pacing of the game ruins large sections of the Order with long cutscenes that constantly get in the way of you being engaged in the action, unnecessary walking around segments that slow the game down too much, and flawed design choices that make the gameplay seem quite repetitive. Throughout the game, you'll often be facing against human enemies or rebels. There isn't a lot of variety in enemy types or any specific clever ways to kill them, just your bog standard shotgunners and snipers or heavier armoured enemies are thrown in the mix every now and then. Humans are armed with historic guns, but you'll also be fighting against Lycans and half-breeds, which offers a slightly different approach to taking out. The Lycans follow set attack patterns to run at you, meaning you'll have to dodge and then open fire. It's a different way of dealing with an enemy, but I think there could have been a wider variation of attacks rather than just the obvious dodge and shoot pattern. There's also parts in the game that require you to face off against half-breeds in a one-on-one fight, and feel really dull and cheap, making the game do all the work for you. The Order really emphasises on its storytelling, so much to the point where it often felt more like watching a movie than playing a game. Because of this, it fails to deliver a truly enjoyable gaming experience, overshadowing the fun with typical shooting gallery-esque gunplay and dumb enemy AI that just loves standing in the open waiting for you to shoot them to pieces. If it's one thing the Order manages to do right, it's the graphics. The game looks extremely polished, and both environments and characters look bloody brilliant. It actually feels like a universe that could exist. And when you find it sometimes difficult to differentiate from cutscenes to real live action gameplay, you know the game looks good. In fact, even the game knows it looks good, by giving you insanely detailed objects and guns to pick up and view, throughout as you play, basically showcasing its own graphics in a gallery-like way. Every little detail from the lighting and shadows have been taken into account, animations look realistic, lip syncing is lifelike, and the game excels in the visual department, showing off the power of what the PS4 console is capable of. And The Order 1886 is one of the best looking games I've ever played. 19th century Victoria London is really presented well, taking you back to that time and putting you into a warped historic world. I love some of the ideas put into the game, the whole merging of historic events and characters. Weapons look and feel like unstable inventions, and the overall atmosphere of the game is something very unique, and has its own character. It's quite obvious that there's been a lot of work put into the design of the game, giving the Order its own identity, and because of how well everything is designed, it makes the alternate world feel somewhat plausible. The Order 1886 feels like a gritty world that could have existed, and is definitely a more serious, darker toned game. It's just a shame that the gameplay, or the lack of it, doesn't really match the level at which the graphics or presentation do, as there's so much potential here for a thrilling original franchise. One really big negative factor on how the game is presented though, and a huge flaw in the way the game plays, is the cinematic-like black bars that are at the top and bottom of the screen. This letterboxing that ultimately restricts your vision, especially when using cover or trying to look up and down to see things. The black bars can't be turned off either, and though they might help make the game feel more like a film, they become obstructive and really annoying whilst trying to peer over cover to see your targets, making this a really bad choice in the game's design. The Order 1886's overall length is something that has been under the limelight, and I can confirm that the game is very short. The average player could complete the game within about 7 hours, and because of how linear the levels are structured, it doesn't really allow for much exploration. There's a few collectibles hidden throughout the game, but apart from these, the campaign is hollow, and there's really no other reason to go back and play the Order after completion. With no online multiplayer or co-op, and a lack of things to do on a single playthrough, the Order is a very short experience, and if you generally blaze through games quickly, this game won't last you long at all. So, The Order is a game that has some strong highs and lows. Where the game manages to produce some stunning visuals and place you into an imaginative Victorian world, it fails to keep you entertained and immersed within it, often relying on typical shallow third-person shooter traits, like the constant use of QTEs and rubbish enemy AI. It often felt more like I was playing an interactive movie or cutscene, rather than actually being involved and playing a game, and most of the Order just feels a bit like a glorified tech demo, there just to show how beautiful it is, but not actually do anything else. The story isn't bad, but because of how short it is, and how you barely become attached to any of its characters, it really lets the game down. Hopefully if there's a sequel or other future Order games, Ready at Dawn will address some of this game's weaknesses. It had so much potential, but disappointingly, the Order tends to forget that it's actually a game, and in the end, that's what really matters. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if you did and found this review helpful. Subscribe to my channel to see all my guides, reviews, tips and latest videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.